Most e-commerce brands completely give up on their email marketing once Black Friday and Cyber Monday is over. And honestly, who can blame them? You just used your best campaigns, your biggest discounts of the year, your heaviest volumes of emails in November and December to make sure that you broke your records at the time where people are buying the most. So what is left to do from January to March in the down season when people aren't buying as much? How are you going to compete with the discounts that you just ran in November and December? This question is super important for me to answer personally because I run a retention agency called Influx Labs, and we're just coming off the back of generating our clients over $1.8 million during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So naturally, there's a bit of fear going into the new year of whether or not you can replicate these results if you're kind of just a one-hit wonder who can only perform when there are heavy sales. So it was important for me to figure out how we can continue to have success in the beginning of 2026 and what the exact steps to take to ensure that we have an even bigger Black Friday this time around based on the groundwork that we laid before. That being said, here are the exact steps that I am taking for my e-commerce clients in 2026 to ensure that they win from January to March following Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is the Q1 email marketing playbook. Play number 1, the cleanup blitz. If you're anything like the average e-com brand, you just sent an absolute avalanche of emails and texts during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And because of this, your list has grown and inflated. And this is an absolute positive thing, but it also means you have to look very close at the size of your list and make sure that you are doing the proper maintenance so you are not overspending by sending to people who are never going to buy your product, who are never going to engage and open your emails, and honestly, just a bunch of dead space that Klaviyo is counting as subscribers and charging you for, but you're not getting any return on your investment from. The way that Klaviyo billing works and other email service providers is actually really tricky because you are paying for every single active profile on your list, regardless of whether you're sending emails to them or not. So if they're not suppressed, they are increasing your billing, they're bumping you up to the next tier, and they're making you pay hundreds more on your monthly subscription, and they're just bogging your list down, they're dead weight, and they're no use to you. So what you're going to need to do is create these exact segments in Klaviyo and suppress them. So first, there is the Klaviyo suggested inactive segment, and this is essentially a 1-year unengaged segment. So this is people who can receive email marketing. They're not already suppressed, meaning you're paying for them. They were created at least 180 days ago, so they're not just new people that have recently signed up. They've received an email at least once in the last 72 weeks, year. They have opened an email 0 times in the last 72 weeks. They've clicked 0 times. They've been active on site 0 times. They've viewed products 0 times. They have checkout started 0 times, and they haven't placed a single order. These are people who are effectively just taking up space and costing you money, not looking at your emails at all. So this is the initial place to start. You need to create this segment right away, whether it's in Klaviyo or using these settings in your other email service provider. Suppress them, get rid of them. I guarantee you, if you haven't done list maintenance in a while, there are thousands of people on this list, and you will immediately see your bill go down if you just suppress these people. The second segment that you need to create right away are people that have bounced, right? So if you have a bunch of new emails that have signed up specifically during Black Friday, but these emails are invalid, something is wrong with them, you do not want to keep sending to them because every single time they bounce, they are hurting your deliverability. So you need to create a segment for people that have soft bounced at least 4 times overall time, or hard bounced at least once over all time. And again, suppress them, get rid of them, exclude them from every single campaign send. You need to do this to clean your list. They are actually hurting your deliverability and you're paying for them. The third is slightly more aggressive than the actual Klaviyo suppressed segment, which is a year inactive, if you're sending heavier volume, right? So if you were sending very heavy volume of emails during Black Friday, then there's more than likely been 20 emails over November and December. If there are people that have received all 20 of these but hasn't engaged with them at all, go ahead, get them off the list right away. Cut them off before you continue to send emails to them that they don't open, right? Maybe they were there for a specific offer during Black Friday, or maybe they accidentally found their way onto your list. Either way, you don't want to send to people who aren't opening. The main thing to understand here in the initial play that you run right away after Black Friday, Cyber Monday in January is you are not losing money by cutting people off. Even the people that you suppress, you can absolutely re-engage them and try to send an email to them at any point in time. But by suppressing them while they're not interacting, you are saving money and you're no longer paying to email people who will never buy again. At the same time that you're cleaning up your list, you need to be cleaning up your campaign strategy. This discount heavy strategy that you run during Q4, during Black Friday and Cyber Monday is not sustainable to do the entire year. And this will just result in people not buying your stuff until they're receiving some sort of percentage off, BOGO, incentive, dollar off, and it will ultimately devalue your products and hurt your performance along the entire year, and then make your next Black Friday kind of pointless because they were given discounts all year long. So to clean up your strategy, you need to shift to evergreen content instead of discounted emails. By evergreen content, what I mean is content campaigns, angles that you can run on a weekly basis that you can continue to refresh over and over again, that keeps people interested, gives them solid offers, but doesn't require any discount. People are burned out from all the discounts in their inbox. Black Friday, Cyber Monday trained people to wait for these discounts, and in January, the expectations are reset. You need to go back to content campaigns. I have given an entire list of some of our favorite content campaigns that we use, and I'll run through those very quickly with you. First, there is the FAQ email. Pick a frequently asked question that you get all the time about your brand, about your product, answer it, dedicate an entire email to it. This keeps people engaged, answers their question directly, and then you can give an offer in there. Us versus them. Pretty self-explanatory. Why you should choose your product over your dozens of competitors, people that are similar, set yourself apart in an email. UGC features. Any sort of social proof that you had gotten during Black Friday, use these, leverage these. Testimonials, linking to videos, using pictures of people, Instagram posts, Instagram stories, any time that you can, show a customer using your product, super strong email. Common myths. You're the expert in your industry, or at least you should position yourself as that. So tell an industry secret. What have they misconstrued about your offer, right? Go over common myths. Super great email. Again, social proof, 5-star reviews. Actionable tips. Provide some value in your email. That doesn't mean make your entire post, tips with no offer. You should still be showing your product and linking to them in every single email here. But this is a way to make the email interesting, right? To provide some value. If you're selling clothes, tell them what shoes they should be pairing this shirt with, etc. Blog posts. If you have blogs on your Instagram, shorten them, take snippets from them, throw them into an email. Super easy content idea. It can even be plain text and they perform well. Current events, pop culture, right? Super Bowl weekend is coming up. Have an email about that if your product relates to it, right? Theme your email to fit what people are currently thinking about, enter the conversation they're already having in their heads. Bestsellers. This is something that you could just constantly use, right? If you have a bunch of SKUs, especially, position it as a bestseller, explain its features, benefits, why people are buying that the most. Holidays. We'll go over this a little bit later in the video, but anytime there's a holiday, it doesn't matter if it is National Squirrel Day. If it relates to your product, then you can leverage it, use it as a content email. You need to run campaigns with no discount. And if you want to add an extra incentive, throw in a free shipping, right? Do something to where you're not relying on heavy discounts in the beginning of the year when you just used them in Black Friday. Hey, so remember all that stuff I just said about not relying on discounts and switching to evergreen content? Forget all of it for just a second, because Valentine's Day is one of the rare cases in Q1 where you actually are going to run a full sale. And honestly, I think it's one of the most overlooked holidays, buying times in e-com, because this is where people are buying gifts for their significant others, gifts for their friends, and gifts for themselves to practice a little self-care if they don't have anyone else to buy them for. So while we have cleaned our list and found a bunch of angles, 80% content, we are actually going to break that for a second during Valentine's Day and take advantage of one of the rare times in Q1 where we can actually run a sale and have it be effective. I'm going to show you exactly how to maximize your Valentine's Day revenue with great timing in campaigns and flows and not panicking. So this is what we do. for campaigns, we essentially have 3 different phases of campaign styles and timing for when we're sending these. The first is early bird. This is typically between January 20th and February 7th, and this is for the planners. So these are angles like shop early, stress less. This is kind of gifting positioning for people who are planners, right? These are the people who want to get their gifts in, make sure that they get the shipping on time, and they have it laid out for the important people in their lives. That is when we will start messaging around January 20th. The second is the actual urgency group. This is where most of your people are going to fall into this, right? People a lot of times don't think about Valentine's Day until it's right under their nose, and then it's becoming too late. So we lean into that with urgency positioning from February 8th to the 14th. So this is shipping cutoff messaging. This is procrastinators that you are targeting. These are people who maybe forgot the gift last year and want to make up for it. So these are the people that you're targeting here. And then following Valentine's Day, this one is one we don't see a lot of people doing. It is treat yourself messaging. So something that works great, even if it's just one simple campaign following Valentine's Day, is didn't get what you wanted. Treat yourself, right? Practice self-care. Get yourself something nice, even if nobody got you anything. So this is something that works really well and kind of plays into people feeling bad about buying things for themselves. So if you can tell them they deserve it, treat yourself, this works really well. These are the campaigns that we run during Valentine's Day, end of January and in early February, and you absolutely need to be taking advantage of this if you have products that are giftable in any way, shape, or form. While we are doing these campaigns, it is very important that we line our website messaging and our automations or flows up with this sale as well. So this can be very simple. Flipping your pop-up sign-up form on your website, your email sign-up form, to match the Valentine's Day offer. Whether that's a percentage off, dollar off, free shipping, whatever the incentive you're giving, make sure that that's on your pop-up, something like Valentine's Day sale, sign up for X% off, right? This is huge. This absolutely skyrockets your sign-up rate if you flip things, if you flip the pop-up for the sale that you're running on your website and it's all congruent. And then people sign up. What do they expect? To have that incentive delivered to them. So update your welcome flow language. Even if it's just changing your headlines, changing the discount in your welcome flow, make sure that it matches your Valentine's Day offer and the language is tailored to that a little bit, right? So maybe more towards gifting. And you're going to want to do the same exact thing with your abandonment flows. So if someone adds something to their cart on your website, but they leave, they abandon that cart, they don't go to checkout, you want to send them an update, and that update better have the same exact discount as your Valentine's offer, or it'll be awkward, it'll be weird, maybe the discount won't even apply, right? So it has to fit the sale. Flip your flows and your pop-ups to fit the Valentine's sale. Run these 3 different style of campaigns, and I promise that this is going to be a huge boost for you in Q1 in a time where sales aren't really common. So make sure you take advantage of this one. Valentine's fails when brands start too late or they forget that their flows exist and don't update it to be congruent. Okay, now when things start to slow down, you're not gearing for another sale. Your content campaigns are planned and scheduled out, and you're doing everything you need to be doing. It's time in this downtime to focus, hone in on the fundamentals, and make sure that you are squeezing every bit of revenue out of the traffic that comes to your website and signs up to your email list. You need to audit your automations, and there is no better time to do it than in Q1 when things are a bit slow. So the goal here is to increase your flow revenue while your traffic on your website is lower. You need to dig into the details and make sure that you have everything set up and running properly. Here is how we do flow audits. 1, audit what worked in 2025. Look for flows that have high click-through rates, high conversion rates, right? Flow messages that are making a lot of money. Double down on these angles, right? Pick these winning angles, pick your winning split tests, and double down on what worked in 2025. You have an entire year of data in your flows to see what was working the best. So you need to write that down, know what works for your brand, and double down on it. 2, fix what didn't work. Right? While you're going through on this audit so that you can see the flow messages and the automations that perform the best, You're going to naturally find what didn't work. Find the emails in your flows where revenue drops off a bit. Study your flow logic. Make sure that your timings are right? Your time delays between flow messages, your triggers. Make sure that everything is firing properly because you haven't dug into this in a while because Q4 was so busy. Identify the weak points and replace them with what worked in the year prior, right? All auditing is doing is looking at what's broken and fixing it by doubling down on what has worked. Extend your high performing flows, right? If your welcome flow is generating a ton of revenue, but there's only 3 to 5 emails in there, why not add a couple more emails? Why not make that, 7 to 10 emails? Extend your high performing flows, because more emails in these flows, if people are buying on every step, it's just going to result in more money. And a lot of times this is, a super low effort thing to do because you can put high performing campaigns in their place, right? You can add high performing campaigns onto your welcome flow. If you have, say, a social proof campaign that did really well, why not tag it on as an additional email in your flow? Turn off the losers, cut the things in the flows that aren't working, double down on the winners, extend the flows with high performing campaigns, and your flows will be performing significantly better, right? I know it's been a long time since you've looked at these, because for every e-com brand it has, you kind of expect that these automations are running the way that they should. A lot of times there is extra room to squeeze a bit more revenue out when traffic is really slow and you're having a bit of downtime in your year. So flows are oftentimes where your biggest lift comes from, especially in Q1. So make sure that you are not neglecting them. Audit your flows when you have the chance. Play number 4, spring training. This is everything that you need to do in Q1 to make sure that you are entering Q2 warm and you're not scrambling. Things are going to inevitably pick up in spring and especially summer when people start buying again. Even if you're panicking in Q1, you know that this is coming. You know things are going to pick up. So what do you need to do on the retention side to make sure that you have a great ramp, a great runway into this, so that when traffic picks up, more people are on your list, you can squeeze the maximum amount of revenue on the retention side out of these folks? 1, you need to build hype. 2, you need to stay consistent. And 3, you need to let your flows work. We'll go through each of these individually. Build hype. What does this mean? If you have things that you're going to launch in spring, you're going to launch in summer, give sneak peeks to the list. Keep these people engaged. Give them a reason to come back, right? Coming soon, VIP early access, sign up. This is what we're going to do. Let them know the plan and keep them engaged. Another thing that you need to pay attention to is, do you have inventory in Q1 that you need to clear to make room for new releases, bigger and better things in Q2 and on? If so, focus on these within your campaigns, right? Clear your inventory. Tell these people, hey, these are going away, right? We need to get rid of these. Focus on things that you need to sell so that you can clear your inventory before spring is here. And then, just keep your list engaged and excited for what's to come, because right now might be a slow period, but you need to make sure that they're coming back when the period isn't so slow. So you need to keep them entertained. Build hype for spring, build hype for summer. 2, a way that you can do this is by staying consistent, right? Like we mentioned, content offers over spamming discounts. Absolutely. UGC, customer stories, testimonials. Stay consistent. Send content, right? Brand education. 3 to 5 emails per week. This is a cadence that you're going to need to keep your list engaged in the slower months so that your revenue can explode when things pick up. If you're constantly sending 3 to 5 emails a week, these people expect to see you in their inbox. They know when you're showing up, and they know when they're going to have a chance to buy when you give them an offer that they've been waiting for. And 3, let your flows work. So, like we mentioned before, audit your flows, find out what's not working, and improve these so that when you do have heavier traffic coming into your email list, you can convert them at a higher rate. Test your pop-up sign-up form to achieve a 10% plus sign-up rate. I will bet anything right now that your sign-up form, if it is built in Klaviyo or your email service provider, is converting below 10%. And that's likely because you just haven't tested it enough. If it's below 10%, continue to test it. Continue to test headlines, offers, button size. right? Simple things like this can get this sign up rate increased so that you are putting more people onto your email list, getting more people in your flows, and they will work better. While you're doing this, split test your core flows, your welcome flow, your abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, abandoned browse, and post purchase. That is where 80% of your revenue is going to come from on the retention side. These flows, so you need to consistently be testing them to find what works while you're in a slower period in Q1, so that again, when Q2 is here, when spring and summer are here, your Q1 wins are going to set you up for Q2, Q3, Q4 scale. Make sure that everything is set in place, that you have gotten your spring training in so that you can absolutely skyrocket your revenue when things pick up again. Ultimately, the problem for most e-com brands in Q1, the reason their performance dips, isn't necessarily because it's slow, it's because their strategy is sloppy. Structure wins every single time. Most of retention is just making sure that you have the structure set up. You have the sign up form that converts a bunch of people onto your list. Once they join your list, you have the automations to trigger to convert these people, and you have a consistent campaign cadence. So you are staying in their inbox, staying on their mind, so that one day when they finally see the offer that they want, the message that resonates with them, they are going to inevitably purchase. Run these plays and you will win Q1 with email marketing. Don't get lazy. Don't give up just because sales aren't as high as when you're spamming discounts on Black Friday, right? Stay consistent. Use these fundamentals. Use this exact playbook. And I promise you, not only will you have a more successful Q1 with your ecom brand, you will have a more successful Q2, 3, and your Black Friday is going to hit harder because you have built your list. You have kept performance strong so that you can finally unload during Q4 and have the biggest year that you have had yet. Oh, and by the way, if you want this playbook for yourself so that you can keep it, I will send you this exact PDF document so that you can reference it and know exactly the plays to run in Q1 this year and implement these right away. All you have to do is go in the description, click through to my newsletter and sign up for it, and you will be sent this exact PDF document immediately, and you can reference it so you don't have to go back to this video or memorize the things that I'm talking about, and you can implement this for yourself. And if you don't want to implement this for yourself, feel free to reach out to me in my email in the description, and we can talk about what this would look like for your ecom brand. And yeah, that's pretty much. Have a great Q1, and I'll see you later.